Clemson Baseball opens the season with a thrilling comeback win over Oklahoma State, and softball continues to struggle with pitching despite having a pretty good offense. And could the Tigers be in the mix for a top defensive line recruit in 2026? That's all coming up right now on Locked On Clemson.
You are Locked On Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Tiger fans? Morgan Thomas here, Clemson fan, Clemson grad, host and producer of Locked On Clemson, part-time host and producer over on 105.5 and 97.5 FM, The Roar. Check me out over there every Thursday morning and Tuesday nights during football season. Thanks for making Locked On Clemson your first listen every day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. If you're new to the show, thank you for tuning in and being a part of the show today. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and also hit that notification bell if you're over on YouTube so you can never miss an episode of exclusive Clemson content I put out every single week. And don't forget to follow me over on X at the Morgan T Show, where I do my daily antics, my weekly antics over there. You can chat with me, and we'll talk about anything Clemson related. I love it. All things Clemson for sure. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Coming up on today's show, we're going to talk Clemson Baseball's big win over Oklahoma State, ranked Oklahoma State, by the way, getting started off hot this season, and softball on the opposite side of things. I got to give my love to the softball team. It's tough right now for them. They lost to Kentucky today, continuing to expose some key weaknesses. I know what you're thinking. Morgan, we need you here to tell us about this softball team. What is going on? I will give you my thoughts on it. And then also finish the show out. I know you love Clemson football, even though it's the off season. It is a big time of year for recruiting, and Clemson football is in the mix for a 4-star defensive lineman, Bryce Perry-Wright. I'm going to tell you why he's exciting, and you should have his name down on your list of guys to keep up with on social media for sure. All right, let's start segment number one. Let's talk about Clemson baseball opening up with a thrilling comeback win over Oklahoma State. If you haven't seen the game, you should go back and watch it. I think there's some replays and some highlights over on YouTube, so go check it out. Baseball really couldn't ask for a better start in 2025, getting a comeback win that was really exciting to watch over ranked Oklahoma State at Globe Life Field in Arlington. That's right, in Arlington, Texas. They're not playing in Clemson, South Carolina. This is a season opener for the first time away from home in 20 years. And man, they're doing it in the Texas Rangers ballpark in Major League Baseball Stadium. It's different. For sure, the crowd is not there. I don't necessarily like that the crowd is not there. I understand it's kind of far away, not so far away for Oklahoma State, but still kind of a decent little trip there, and a big trip for Clemson, of course. But there are some Clemson faithful out there, like our guy JP is covering everybody for Clemson Insider. But away from home, very interesting. Let me give you a little bit of a recap. From what I saw, what I wrote down in my notes in the game. If you didn't get to see it, you can get a little bit of a review from me. Clemson struck first with an RBI ground out from Jaden Purify in the second inning. Oklahoma State responded with back-to-back home runs from Avery Ortiz and Donovan LaSalle, taking a 4-1 lead by the fourth inning. Within 4 innings, Aiden Kanak was gone, but he really had a good game pitching, to be honest, even though he gave up 4 runs. Clemson battled back in the 5th inning, scoring 2 runs with bases loaded walks, Dominic Listy and Josh Pano. After the Cowboys extended their lead to 5-3 in the 6th, Luke Gaffney had a clutch 2-out double to cut it to 5-4. And then the 7th inning, Tristan Becerra tied the game with a ground out and a wild pitch brought in the winning run. So ultimately the winning run. It wasn't in the 9th inning, but Clemson's bullpen I think did really well with Malstott and Dvorsky helping them secure the win. So 3 things that I think you should remember from this game is that the Tigers were down 4-1, but they continue to stay disciplined at the plate. Now, I know what you're saying. It's just the first game of the season. There's a lot they could go on for the rest of the year, but I understand. But really, starting out, they capitalized on key moments. You remember how I talked about earlier on this week about how, they got to make up the big home run ball. Well, they didn't have to necessarily make up home runs with home runs. They were able to play a little bit of small ball. They got walks when they really needed. They got guys on base. Purify, had a stolen base in there, I believe, and then had a wild pitch, and then he had a couple of singles here and there. Canarella was hit by a pitch. So there were times where it wasn't the big bat that got them to where they needed to be. And they still, even though they were down, they weren't out. So you like the disciplinedness of them at the plate. You like their resiliency throughout the game. Aiden Kanak had a strong start. He struck out a ton of batters, and he played 4.1 innings. But I'm telling you, even though he did give up, the runs, I think it was still a good outing for him. He seemed to have command, seemed to be in good form. So you like what you can see from him. Plus, I got to be honest with you. When you go look at the new the new updated uniforms, they look good. The gloves and the gear that they have with their new deal with Jazz Chisholm in his company that he's working with, man, I love it. Looks great. It's awesome to watch them. I'm just so glad baseball's back and I get to watch it and talk about it with you guys because, Clemson baseball I think is going to be pretty special. Becerra had a game tying ground out and a wild pitch runner, but I also want to talk about Listy. Man, the guy got multiple base hits and or multiple bases, and so I think he is really opportunistic. I really like what I see from that transfer. He hit a ball. I believe he got a triple. He hit a ball that was to left field, and kind of the left fielder didn't play it properly, and it went, I don't want to say through his legs, but it went by him all the way back to the fence, and he took advantage of it, got all the way around to third base. So pretty exciting there. Again, it's not that you're making big hits. It's just that you're getting on base and you're taking advantage. You're not just taking one base, you're taking two bases and then so on. So stats to think about, eight strikeouts for Aiden Kanak. Bullpen allowed just one run in their relief effort, so really good job for them. Really, your bullpen was in there from the middle of the fourth all the way to the end of the game, so that's really awesome. 6 runs scored without a home run. So there you go. We were talking about that. Do they need to make up what they lost last year in home runs? No, they can do it with 6 runs scored without a home run. So well-rounded offense, patient at the plate, and opportunistic around the bases for sure. So questions from, the first game of the season. Was this likely, some struggles there? Were there anything you thought they struggled with? Honestly, I think it was a pretty well-rounded game overall. I know they got down early. And some of those were just like really good hits that were just, there was one that Oklahoma State hit just down the line, man. And it was like, you really can't do much more than that. They played the best they could. They played defense the best they could. And I think they did well. It was a really well-rounded game. Is Aiden Kanak still a good ace? Did he come out strong? Yeah, I think so. He still has a really good ability to make batters swing and miss. And will this carry their momentum? Yes, for sure. I think this is you're going to see some more momentum throughout the rest of the weekend. You got Arizona up next, and then Ole Miss. So you can't really sit around and wait. You got to play these big games. You got to play these teams that are good teams, and it's pretty exciting. So we said earlier this week, are you going to be able to see what Clemson is made of starting out the gate? Yes. And game 1 looking pretty good. So let me know what you think about the opening game and the season. And was it a statement win to get the season started off? Can they keep it rolling for the rest of the weekend? I'm curious to see. Did you watch the game? If you haven't watched the game, I encourage you to go watch the highlights or go check it out on ESPN Plus or wherever you can find it. But I found a replay over on YouTube to watch some of the highlights. So you can check it out there if you missed it. All right, coming up next, we're going to talk about Clemson Softball. They are hot on offense, but they're pretty cold when it comes to the pitcher's circle. We'll talk about that right after this. Looking to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor makes eating well easy with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals that are fresh, never frozen, and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. With 40 options across 8 dietary preferences every week, you can customize your meals to fit your lifestyle, whether it's Calorie Smart or Protein Plus or Keto. Plus, Factor even offers wholesome smoothies, breakfasts, grab-and-go snacks, and to keep you fueled all day long. I love how Factor takes the stress out of meal planning. What happens to me is I don't know what I want to eat, so I end up eating out, and I end up eating out junk food. That's not good. Go get their Protein Plus meal. Check it out. Go get the Keto meal, Calorie Smart, whatever. They're all good. The convenience to me, though, is unbeatable. No prep, no mess, no fast food, just great food in minutes. Actually, I say that it is fast because it's 2 minutes, but it's not fast food in junk. So eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/locked on college, $50 off, 50 off. Use the code locked on college 50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code locked on college 50 off at factormeals.com/locked on college 50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. All right, segment number 2, Clemson softball. The offense stays hot. The pitching, though, does not. They lost to Kentucky today. I watched the entire game live. I love Clemson softball. I'm really into it. They fought hard, and that's what really hurts my heart, is that they have the fire. They have the will to win. They are resilient. And they played good defense this time around. The past couple of games, they've had a couple of errors here and there and allowed the other team to just continue their innings. They didn't do that this time, but they fell short. The pitching struggles are just, I really don't have an answer for you right now with it. They lost another game, and I want to break it down. So recap, Julian Noller homered early. Kentucky scored 5 runs in the 3rd inning to take control of the game. Macy Cintron hit a homer, freshman, drove in 3 RBIs while Maddie Moore continued her hot start. Clemson rallied with a 3-run 7th inning. They only play 7 innings, but it just wasn't enough. Man, they got down, and I felt like, oh, man, they were really close. And then, unfortunately, Reese Basinger, the transfer from Winthrop, I am extremely high on her. I was so excited. I posted about it on X. I just think she just needs a little bit more time to figure it out. Maybe she's not the number 1 ace that we hoped she would be to start the season, but that doesn't mean that she can't be that later on in the season. But right now, it doesn't seem that way. So the offense can compete. They had 6 runs on 8 hits, really only 1 hit less than Kentucky. The pitching is the weak link for sure. 7 runs allowed and 5 extra base hits. And they fought late game, but it just wasn't enough. 8 strikeouts for Clemson pitching, but they allowed 5 extra base hits. And again, Reese Basinger came in. Cintron was pitching. She allowed a early lead. And really all the pitchers that they have, I think their ERAs are like in the 4s. So that's not what you can have in Clemson. And to be honest with you, that's not what you can have in a top 25 team. You can't have pitchers, even in baseball, in the 4s, all of your starting pitchers. Really, when it comes to softball, we're used to Valerie Cagle, Millie Thompson, Reagan Spencer type pitchers that are in your like 0.90 or 1.2s, maybe 3s at the worst. Unfortunately, right now, every pitcher that's out there is giving up 4 or 5 runs a game, and that's just not something that's leading to success. Now, I think Brooke McCubbin could be an option. So if you want to ask me, like, should Brooke McCubbin play more? Maybe she should go in and be more of a starter right now. I don't know if how she compares to the other 2 as far as like talent and skill level. I'm not really an expert in softball pitching, but I will say she's the most veteran of the 3. And she's probably the most comfortable with the team that she has and the coaching staff she has and the catcher that they have in Abby Vieira. So to me, that all lines up to where I would probably have Brooke McCubbin start a couple of games for you, see if she can do that, and see if Reese Basinger and Macy Cintron can come in and kind of play some of that reliever type or closer type situation. Now, Cintron, on the other hand, you don't want to wear her out pitching because she's actually a pretty good bat. She hit a home run, and she's like, I think cleanup or fifth in the fifth spot. So she is obviously a big bat and somebody that they can rely on. So you don't want to get her tired and where she struggles at the plate. So that's me. I think another question is, can Clemson win big games, or is it kind of the good times over for the Tigers? Can they win big games if pitching doesn't improve? No, they're not going to be able to win close games, ranked games, big games. The bats are there. Maddie Moore is batting 600. You've got young girls out there, freshmen that are holding their own. But if their pitching doesn't figure something out soon, it's going to be a very long season, as somebody told me that was their thought on X recently when I posted about softball. So I agree with you. I think that it is going to be a long season if they don't figure something out. And another thing too is it's very top heavy in this lineup. I don't really know what the answer is, to be honest with you. You could move some players around maybe, but the bottom four in the lineup, Abby Vieira included, who is a veteran player who you'd really hope, and you're starting catcher for many years now, you would have hoped that she'd kind of figure something out at the plate, but she still seems very, just not very aggressive, not very confident at the plate, doesn't really know what she wants to do up there. So I feel like the bottom of the lineup is definitely one that right now, at least, you think you're going to get probably 3 strikeouts or 3 ground outs for sure, or even just 3 looking. But your top 5 and 6 batters those are the ones that are just really key right now and are kind of carrying you. And they're carrying you enough to win these games. Like I said, it's not that the offense is not there. They just, if there wasn't the 3-run inning in, I believe, the 5th, then this game would have been won by Clemson at the end of the game. So they got to do something. Honestly, if you want to say, are you hitting the panic button yet? I would say no. One thing is, and I mentioned to someone, is the thief of comparison is the thief of joy, right? So we can't compare this team to the other teams of the past with Valerie Cagle and those stars that they had. Yes, Clemson seems to have lost a ton of superstars, and they're going to have to figure out who's going to take their place. There are some that are freshmen right now that look like they have potential to take their place, but what is their ceiling in year one? It'd be kind of hard to say. We'll have to wait and see. But should you count them out yet? I would say no. Probably for me, if I'm the coach, I'm riding out this tournament, the Shriners Clearwater Classic that they're doing, invitational, whatever it is. And I would ride out this tournament and then come home, really. The girls need to be in McWhorter Stadium with a packed house, ready to cheer them on and really give them some support that they need. To be honest, a lot of the freshmen, truly the ones that have that talent that is looking good so far, they need to get home. They need to see what the Clemson family is all about, what the fan base is all about, and see how their fan base, just rallies behind them. Because once they catch fire with that, I think it'll really go good. I mean, it works with football. It works with baseball. It definitely works with basketball. The Clemson family can hold their own and can support their team. So that's what I would say. I'd say let's just ride out this weekend and let's see what Clemson can do. Let's cheer them on and really rally behind them when they get home and try to build this team back up. And don't sit here over and over comparing them to, prior teams. That would be the worst thing to do. So let me know what you think. Is the offense strong enough to win games? I think so. But do you think the pitching can improve at all? Or is it kind of like it is what it is already, that you've already seen what you enough to know that this is all we got? Let me know what you think. Coming up next, we're going to talk about what player you should keep an eye on for the 2026 football recruiting class. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on it than FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your bets with the same game parlay. I love using FanDuel live betting feature because it keeps you in the moment of every exciting game, whether I'm backing my team for a late push or picking a player to hit on a clutch three. I've never felt like I've missed a chance. Plus, the app is super easy to use and you get paid instantly when you win. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, why should you keep an eye on Bryce Perry-Wright? Clemson's targeting one of the top defensive tackles in the 2026 class, Bryce Perry-Wright. Could a Grady Jarrett connection help the Tigers land this four-star prospect? Well, he's an elite defensive talent. He's got the size, he's got the technique, he's got the athleticism. You really like this guy, 6'3", 260 pounds. I think he probably even bigger than that already. He is just a massive human being. I really like what I see. Go check him out on huddle.com. He's got a ton of highlights over there, and it's really cool to see. And what I love about Clemson is, you have to keep your pipeline coming in. You have to keep replenishing that defensive front, okay? Because he has this pedigree to be another superstar on the defensive line, and you need top-tier defensive linemen to hold your own. And you know what Clemson struggled with last season with the run defense. So they have to go and push for the best of the best out there, and definitely Perry-Wright is that. They have him ranked right now. Some of the outlets, I think 24/7 has him ranked at 13th right now, but some of the scouting places have him even higher. Rivals actually has him as the number 3 defensive tackle in the nation, and I'll take the higher one there. So give me number 3. His offer sheet is absolutely loaded. Clemson's offered him. Alabama has offered him. Georgia, Texas, Southern Cal, Auburn, you name it, they want him. He's already taken visits to several schools, and Clemson is definitely in the mix. Oh, and there is an NFL connection in his family. He also is related to Ray Lewis from Miami. Now, I know that's what you're thinking. Uh-oh, Morgan. Uh-oh. If he's related to Ray Lewis, then why wouldn't he just go to Miami and be a part of that program? Well, that's an option for sure. He has family ties there, but he definitely has family ties with Grady Jarrett. So, Clemson is definitely in the mix as well. You can't keep him out for sure. You can't keep Clemson out of his recruiting process. Now, he's an elite talent. He's got elite size. I love his technique. I love the way he gets back into the backfield and gets to the quarterback. He absolutely brings chaos to the backfield. And he's from Beaufort High School in Georgia, and they produce absolute superstars. They're a football powerhouse in Georgia in high school. Dozens. I think there's some place I read where they have like over almost 50 NFL and elite college football type players, prospects like Dylan Raiola, Georgia, Nebraska guy, KJ Bolden. You remember him, secondary of Georgia. Edric Houston, Clemson went after Edric Houston as well as KJ Bolden. Houston's at Ohio State. Perry-Wright is the next in line, in my opinion. So Clemson needs another dominant interior defensive tackle. They need to keep that pipeline going. They need to keep the rotation and the cupboard full for sure. 3 stats that I think are important for Clemson fans to keep track of. Just where he continues to rank in the defensive tackle position. I think as long as he continues to be one of the best in the country, Clemson needs to keep going after him. And right now, as I mentioned, he's a junior heading into his senior season, and he is 6'3", 260. So he has the college size level already. And by the time he gets to campus, he's going to be even bigger. You probably want him to be even bigger at defensive interior, 280, 290, maybe even 300, depending on what his body can handle. He needs to get a little bit bigger to be a dominant force at the college level, but I definitely think he can do that. And his high school, man, I'm telling you, not only that, but 54 players, D1 ready, straight in from Buford High School in the past couple of years. Just amazing what they've done there. They keep getting the talent. So it's a hotbed for big-time football recruits. And I think Clemson is in a good position. Now, does Clemson have a real shot at this guy? Is it just Miami? I think it's definitely between the two right now. There might be some other teams in there that are definitely going to push for him, but he's made visits, and he's made visits to Clemson. So I think if you look at where they go, if you say, hey, he's made visits to Clemson, follow the visits, and that's good for Clemson in this case. So I like that he is interested. I like that Clemson keeps pushing for him. Would Clemson fans like to have him, or should Clemson fans like to have him? I think for sure. Anytime you get a defensive tackle that's elite, you definitely got to have him. And would he be able to start immediately? Well, that kind of goes into it all depends on the roster, really. I wouldn't want to say, can he start immediately? But I'm sure guys like that will be able to push for playing time very, very quickly. Hey, let me know what you think. Is Clemson in the mix for this big-time defensive tackle? Do you like Perry-Wright? Do you think he would fit for Clemson and what they're trying to do with Nick Eason and the new defense of Tom Allen that we're going to see this year? I'd love to get your thoughts in the comments or over on X at the Morgan T Show. So I appreciate everyone being a part of the show today. And as always, every single week and Monday through Friday, I hope you've enjoyed it. This is the end of the week for me, and this is my second week here on Locked On Clemson. So I hope you've enjoyed the show so far. I'm still getting back into the podcast, YouTube game. So, if there's any way that I can improve, I love to get the feedback from you. So let me know for sure. And don't forget to follow me over on X at the Morgan T Show. Stay tuned as we continue to look into all things Clemson as the off season for football, baseball, softball, basketball continue to roll on. Thank you for making Locked On Clemson your first listen today. And for your second listen, make sure you check out Locked On ACC podcast. Alex Dono, Kenton Gibbs, they keep it real and bring you the truth about where your favorite ACC team stands within the conference. Find Locked On ACC on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. And as always, Tiger fans, we'll see you, not tomorrow. I'll see you Monday, and I'll see you at the top of the hill.